This is the Uptick Newswire Stock Day podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews, public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world, with your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, I'm bringing you a brand new company that my team discovered about 2 or 3 months ago. We're talking about Veritas Farms. They recently changed that name back in February too, that name. They were on the OTCQB. You can find them under the ticker symbol VFRM. And with us today, we're very fortunate and lucky to have the Vice President of Business Development with us, Mr. Derek Thomas. Derek, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You know, what was your prior name before it was Veritas Farms?
Yeah, before we did the official name change, the parent company was SanSal Wellness, or SanSal Holdings.
So let me ask you this. You being the business development, and I've had all kinds of hemp guys and marijuana guys on my shows. How do you see the full spectrum of hemp oil, CBD? It's a craze. It's just now starting to get legs. I feel we're in the first or second inning only to go forward. What are your thoughts?
I would agree with you. Definitely the first or second inning out of what's going to be a very long game. I think, where it's come from has been fascinating to watch, but where it's going to evolve into over the next 5 or 10 years is going to be even more fascinating. You're going to see a lot more institutional money come in. There's going to be a lot of mergers and acquisitions. You're also going to see a lot of technological development, both, a little bit on the recreational and cosmetic kind of application side, but definitely on the health and wellness and even on the, specific kind of disease state side. And then, of course, like I said, lots of mergers and acquisitions. And then really interesting, a lot of people don't realize how boxed out of traditional marketing tactics that full spectrum hemp oil and CBD are. So that's going to be another really big change. You're going to start to see, Google AdWords is going to open up, social media marketing is going to open up, and then traditional, radio and TV. So it's going to, it's really going to move into a standard kind of consumer packaged goods on the one side, on over the counter, and then it's also going to continue to kind of evolve in health as well. So it's going to be a really fascinating time, and I don't think that CPG has seen a unique product like this in many decades.
Your revenues were up 170% over 2017. Let me give my listeners and your stockholders a little bit of preview. In 2017, you guys did 1.1 million. 2018, you did 2.1 million. You beat almost on every metric. Cost of goods down 44%. Gross profit up, I think, $850,000. Your inventory is increased by 61%. That being said, what makes you guys different, and how did we get here?
Yeah, well, as you were nice enough to kind of lay out, we had a very, very good year last year, and we're really excited to kind of accelerate that this year. And what's allowed us to do that really has been the way we got started. So I would say about 99% of the companies in the space really started off as sales and marketing companies, and that's what they still are. And it's been great. They helped get the word out. They helped introduce this product to new customers and new categories. So we're certainly thankful for kind of everyone who's in the space that's been acting appropriately. But what we've been able to do, and what we did was we actually kind of worked backwards from what most of those other companies are doing. So we actually started with a farm. We bought 140 acres, and we literally built it from the ground up, and I'm talking electricity, plumbing, infrastructure, and that allowed us to be fully vertically integrated. So we own 140 acres just outside of Pueblo, Colorado, and on that 140 acres, we are literally fully vertically integrated. So we grow, we extract, we manufacture, we do our research and development. We even pack, label, and ship, so that if you're an e-commerce customer or if you're a retail partner, it's going to ship to you directly from the farm. So that allows us for an unparalleled level of transparency, of quality, and even of consistent supply. Because there's a lot of what those sales and marketing companies are finding out is that as more companies, as demand grows, as more companies enter the space, as more consumers gravitate towards the category, they're now having to go to different commercial farms.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that's in the United States if they're lucky, but sometimes it's in Eastern Europe, and sometimes it's in Southeast Asia. So it's really hard for a lot of these companies to guarantee a consistent and quality supply when you have so many different sources and so many stretched supply lines. So we've really been able to mitigate that entirely. It allows us, like I said, just an unparalleled level of transparency. Our COAs are correlated to lot numbers, which are right on the bottles. So we really open up and let customers view our entire supply chain. And that even means coming to the farm and getting a public tour.
Nice.
So it's,
nice.
like I said, really unique, really different, and it's going to allow us to continue on that same trajectory of growth.
The last 30, 40, 50 days, you guys have been making a lot of moves. One, you did an agreement with Perwell in February, I think 27th. Then you did another agreement with Oasis Health. What are those two agreements going to do for your company?
Well, those ones are really interesting for us because, as you've seen from some of the other press releases, we've made a lot of strides in traditional retail and consumer packaged goods. And we're really excited about that channel, as we do see that as kind of being the core of the industry. But as you mentioned, on the health side, we're now working with companies like Virtuox and with Oasis. Oasis, just to give your listeners a little bit of context, they are the largest rheumatology network in the nation. They have about 3,500 clinicians, doctors, and they have about 1 million patient network. So this is really one of the first times that you've seen a doctor group, and they are private labeling from us, but it's the first time you've really seen a doctor group kind of gravitate in mass towards this type of product, and then distribute it to their practitioners and then ultimately to their patients. So the notoriety behind that, the substantiation in the marketplace, the reputability of this group, not only entering the space, but entering with us, choosing to private label with us. It's really helped us learn a lot. It's helped them learn a lot. We will be able to gain really, really valuable insight from their patient base. So it's really fascinating for the industry, and of course, as us for a company, we're really excited about it.
You've been listening to my guest, Derek Thomas. He's the Vice President of Business Development for Veritas Farms, Inc. They trade on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol VFRM. 2018 revenues were 2.1 compared to 1.1 in 2017. What's exciting, new in store for your company in 2019, Derek?
Yeah, it's going to be another explosive year of growth. We're entering a lot of kind of mainstream retail with a lot of regional and even national chains as they enter the space. So we're going to continue that consumer packaged goods trajectory is going to be our core business. And with that, you're going to see an expansion into other kind of subcategories of the full spectrum hemp oil space. So we're talking about things like a premium women's cosmetic line, which will be things like a hyaluronic serum, an eye cream, a mask, things like that. We're also going to expand our pet portfolio. So we're going to be launching about 8 pet products, both in the ingestible and the topical side for both felines and canines, as well as maybe horses. And then we're also going to continue product development and expansion with additional ingestibles like gummies, as well as a pro line, which will be available exclusively for clinical practitioners, everything from doctors of chiropractic up to, dermatologists, rheumatologists, internal medicine doctors. So a lot of new products over the next year, a lot of continued growth in retail, in chain retail. And then we're going to also have a lot of really unique and interesting press and kind of one-off events around the country in influential markets. So we're really excited about those as well.
Derek, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. We're running out of time, but before I let you go, what would you want your investors and my listeners to take away from this interview?
The most important thing for us, it really resonates in our name, Veritas, which is the truth in Latin. And that really resonates across the company and everything that we do, whether it's for CPG or whether it's for our private label health care practitioners. That is who we are, what we do, and we find it really important part of the story to tell for the industry right now. And that's really because there are, unfortunately, some bad actors. There's a lack of clear federal guidelines on how this should be marketed and the story that should be told. So we feel like we really take a conservative approach that still has the best interests of the consumer, of the retailer, and of our shareholders in mind. So that's what I'd like to leave your listeners with.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It was a privilege to have you on the show. I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing out there, healing people, and I think we're going to see some great things from cannabinoids and the CBD oils. You're always welcome to come on the show. Hopefully, you become a regular. Come on every 40 or 50 days and give us an update on what's going on with your company.
Hey, thanks again for the time, and we're looking forward to talking to you guys soon.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by Uptick Newswire, LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are those of the guests and those of the respective companies they represent, and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Uptick Newswire. Uptick Newswire encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional. The guests of this program may have paid for its distribution and are not directly affiliated with Uptick Newswire or the station.